All right, hi everyone. So today's class is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more culture based, and it's going to back up Paul Mitchell systems and how to direct guest flow on the clinic classroom. We're going to talk about the 10 opportunities and how you guys can improve what you are offering your guests during their service. So the very first one we're going to talk about is create magic first. This is the very first interaction you'll have with your client. So you want to make sure that you always greet your guests with a be nice welcome. During coronavirus, we should definitely not be shaking hands, but I encourage you guys to come up with one way to create a connection with your client, either giving them eye contact. If you do know them, shaking their hand, you can embrace them in a hug if you know them. But something that's natural and not where you're just going up and saying, Hannah, come on, making sure that you're making a nice human contact and interaction with them. I am really big on you guys using their first and last name. I know sometimes we have clients that come in and you're not really sure on how to pronounce their name. You can always go to your learning leaders. I definitely will try my hardest to help you out. If we can't help you, definitely go to front desk, but please try and learn at least their first or last name versus going up there and calling someone named Catherine Jackie. So make sure that you guys are trying your hardest to pronounce their name, even if it is a really difficult one. Always be friendly. A smile goes a long way, and so does eye contact. So make sure that when you're grabbing your guests, that you're simply just being over the top nice. And then make sure to escort them to your service area. So I've observed a lot. Sometimes we'll get older ladies or older men and they're a little bit more frail and maybe can't walk as fast as us. And I'll notice a student has gotten to zone 3 and their client is still in the green chair, like waiting area, and they are like grabbing their walker. So just make sure that you guys are actually escorting them to your station and not just leaving them up by themselves. The second thing you guys want to do is identify challenges. So when they're in your chair, you want to discover what your guests need and look for opportunities to serve them by asking discovery questions. You want to avoid close-ended questions or yes and no questions. So when they sit in your chair, don't say, hey, do you like your hair? Well, no. Okay, that's not really getting you any information or getting you very far to determine, hey, maybe they want a color today, maybe a haircut would help them, or a deep condition. So a few things that you guys can do is ask, what do you love about your hair? That's an open-ended question and will allow them to dive into what they love about their hair. Oh, I love my length. Oh, I love my silver coming in. Anything like that. You can also ask, what don't you like about your hair? Well, it's really dull. It's not shiny. Maybe it doesn't do anything. Maybe it's not manageable. So during this consultation, you're identifying all the challenges that you notice and that your guest has to deal with. This is also a great time to kind of check and see if you're noticing any type of abrasion on the scalp, if you're noticing lice, if you're noticing maybe something abnormal in a client that comes in regularly. So just make sure that you're really taking the time to identify those challenges, and that will help you with step 3, which is to recommend solutions. This, you guys, is part of the consultation when after you've heard everything that they don't or do like about their hair, you can recommend stuff to A, support what they love, or B, offer something to help change what they don't. So suggest services and products to help your guests. Get their permission before you proceed with the service. So maybe you have a client that has really flat hair. It just really won't curl. It won't do anything. It's maybe even too healthy to hold a Marcel curl. Offer them a perm. Offer them some highlights. We don't want hair to be damaged, but sometimes dry hair can actually do a little bit more for us than someone with overly healthy hair. I'm not saying go crazy and damage their hair, but sometimes offering them a chemical service to change that texture or formation can really help future styling or future end goals that your client wants. So just make sure that you're always discussing these things before you go through and do it. That way they're not surprised by their ticket price up at the front. And B, that way, if maybe they're not totally sold on it, they can go home and think about it. Step 4 is where you guys are really going to make your connection with your guests. This is something that I do in the salon, and this is my main point of retention, and that's the wash house. So what you guys should really start doing is getting into your product knowledge books and really focusing on the products, getting your hands in different things other than Super Skinny or other than Tea Tree, and really starting to customize a product experience for each client every single time. We don't really need to use extra body on someone that already has, a whole head of hair that's super thick and curly. Maybe we should use more of our smoothing line or something that's going to benefit them but not cause extra issues. You can also allow your guests to choose the wash house experience. We do have wash house experience menus that you guys can get from the front desk, and I know I have multiple little menus in my core classroom, so if that's something that you guys remember after quarantine, please go check that out. During the wash house, you guys can also really gain a relationship with your client by giving that great 5-minute stress relief treatment, making sure that your shampoos are lasting at least 8 minutes, really making sure that you're giving them a nice relaxing massage, you're conditioning their hair, maybe even offering that hand and arm massage in between. Step 5 is to educate your guests. So I always say that you guys want to educate your guests on how to style their hair. That way they can go home and recreate the look that you did. Just don't teach them how to do it as good as you. So that way they're always coming back. They're thinking, Holly can always get my hair this way. I can kind of do it at home, but it's never as great as when she can. So you want your clients to be able to go home and live in their look. So make sure that you guys are educating them on how to style their hair, what kind of products to use, maybe why their Pantene is causing their hair color to fade. So provide information that will help your guests look and feel better by taking time to share ideas and tips about their beauty and image throughout the entire service. If they're telling you, I don't know how to round brush my hair, take 5 minutes to let them maybe round brush the front little portion around their face. I'm not a huge supporter of you guys letting clients use your tools, but if you give them a little demo, kind of do some OBE, objective-based education, and let them straighten a little section in the front, or maybe use a wand or a curling iron that you're using on them. Let them put the product in their hair. That way they know how much to use. Number 6, talk professionally. I really love this quote that I put on here. Don't underestimate the seductive power of a decent vocabulary. Make sure that you guys are using, I call them sexy words. Make sure that you're using a positive vocabulary when you're talking with your client. When you get to know your client and maybe their hair color is just brown. Maybe we just did a 4-in on them. Really make them feel good and say, your hair color is so chocolatey, it's so shiny and gorgeous and luscious. Use words that's going to make them feel great. On the other hand, make sure that your conversation you're having with your client is of good. I know religion and politics are things that get brought up in my chair quite a bit, and that's something that you really want to A, stay neutral on, and B, sometimes you just have to bite your tongue and maybe steer the direction or the conversation in a different direction. Make sure to focus on your guests and direct your conversations to their needs. You guys are in a business where sometimes that chair can become a gossip center. Just make sure that it's productive. There's nothing wrong with your clients kind of talking to you, but make sure that if they're talking to you about home stuff, that you're very careful on the advice that you're giving them, because A, you don't know the whole story, and B, sometimes consequences can come from a stylist giving too much of her input on someone's personal life. Be present and with your guests at all times. You'll get guests in your chair that want to play Candy Crush or Sudoku or get on Facebook, and that's totally fine. But make sure that you have done everything you can before you walk away from them. Hey, can I interest you in a glass of water? Can I get you a magazine? I normally can feel out my clients within the first 15 minutes, especially during that consultation, if they A, just want to sit there and relax, or B, if they want to talk. If they want to talk, you take that hour, 2 hours, and you talk to them. Just make sure that you guys are using, again, good language. I know we live in a world where a lot of people drop the F-bomb. Maybe they use this cuss word or use slang. But I can be the first person. Not everyone is okay with that. So just make sure that you guys are watching how you talk. I don't mind jokes, but in a professional setting, sometimes people stand out more when they talk just like every day, like if you were talking with your girlfriends. Make sure that you're keeping your private life private and making sure you're not talking about anything that you would not want your mom or the Lord to hear. Number 7, recommend the Color Bar and other services. So maybe this client just came in for a haircut. Try and get them to come back. Offer them a Color Bar service, offer them a deep condition, offer them a chemical service, maybe a relaxer. So create a color experience or another service your guests may need to enhance their image. Try and sell literally the bathroom to them. Make sure that they come back. And I'm not saying that to get more people in the school. I'm saying that so you get used to it when you get into the salon. So just make sure that you are recommending other services to your client. That way, you know, they want to come back and see you. That way they know that you're taking the time to customize something in the future for them. Number 8 is style experience. Show your guests which products to use. Teach them how to create and maintain their new look. That's kind of going back to number 5 of educating your guests. So the style experience is everything. You can do a bomb haircut and color, but if you do not know how to style hair, that's going to go way out the window. So just make sure that you are staying up to date with your styling trends. That way you can share all your tips and tricks with your clients. Number 9 is review and recommend. Review what you recommend, write down your recommendation, and answer their questions at your service area. So that little ticket on the back, or that little take-home recommendation form on the back of your tickets that you guys like to throw away or not fill out, this is the portion of that 10 opportunities that you need to be filling that out. It's kind of like a prescription card that your doctor would give you. These products are geared towards their hair, and it makes you a little bit more credible when you can, I'm doing little quotations, when you can diagnose someone's hair and you can give them a product that can help with whatever they're struggling with. But you guys should always be writing down what you recommend for them to buy either that day or later on in the future. And if you didn't know, down at the bottom, it does have their next appointment. So that way they have that written down and they can take that with them. And then last but not least is your 2-minute plan. You always want to follow the steps to the 2-minute plan. I don't care if this regular has come in 90 times in the past week. I don't care if it's the first time that they've been in. I don't care if it's your mom, your brother, your dad, your uncle, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. I don't care who it is. You should always be ending with the 2-minute plan. Practice makes perfect. And you guys want to make sure that you're practicing selling product. That way when you get into the salon, you can start increasing your take home or commission between $200 and $400. And that's a testimony from me. Sometimes my paycheck from Pennies would be $100 more, and I'm like, why did this happen? Oh, I forgot I sold a straightener. So just make sure that you guys are practicing that 2-minute plan and really following through, walking your guests out, thanking them over the top for coming in. At the end of this, there is going to be a little questionnaire for your home place, so make sure that you guys submit it. And I look forward to grading your answers. Bye.